Oh, yeah. I've been up for about, I don't know, good 3 hours now. So I wanted to talk about some things. Well, one thing. I wanted to talk about Danileigh and the baby. I know how this is going to be reported. And the way it's going to be reported is because of one specific reason. That one specific reason being this: the history that the baby has, and the not only the history that he has, but also the storyline and the narrative that were planted and injected into the media, social media, and regular media together any way that anybody felt the need to do. Okay. Based off that alone, the baby's reputation precedes him and actually who he is, you know. And from what I've been told or from what I've seen, he seems like a pretty damn good person to me. Um, I think that sometimes people supersede gender versus or sexual orientation in this United States nowadays, when sometimes it's not as warranted as it should be. Now, I'm gonna take y'all on a little ride with me this morning. I'm gonna explain to y'all what I think. You understand? And why I think things took place the way they took place, and why the reason you guys really got to see what was going on online, and what a lot of media is gonna miss, what they're gonna point directions and saying something else. What's going on, John Stoughton? They're gonna point direction to someone else. And men, I particularly want you to pay attention because I know this situation that the baby went through. And I'm going to explain it to you. And I'm going to explain it to you as PG rated as I can. Therefore, you can tell other men about it or whatever the case you may want to do. I was in a previous relationship for 7 years. This was now going back 3 years ago. I'm not going to talk about where it ended me up at or whatever. I'm going to do a separate one on that one because I believe there's a lot of my viewers that don't know exactly my journey and everything like that. So, update some people that weren't original followers, and I'm glad you're here. Well, I was with my ex for 7 years. We had some issues with fidelity. Let's put it that way, infidelity, and as a result of that, on her end and my end as well, you know what I'm saying. But she started it. we ended. We ended on this terms, and there was a argument that ensued. I'm trying to PG and edit this as much as I can, but there was an argument that ensued because of something I had found out again. And subsequently, I was stabbed 3 times by my ex. Now, this is the funny thing. Um, yes, there's some laughter in it. Um, she ended up calling the police on me, and I said, "Are you out of your mind?" Like I was willing to let it go. Like I'm a trooper, you know what I'm saying? So I got, yes, a shoulder, one, two, and then the third one right here. You know what I mean? And I don't know if she was going for my neck or my shoulder. That still resonates with me to this day. You know what I'm saying? And I did absolutely nothing wrong. I spent weeks having to learn and find out that she had mental issues and that hadn't been addressed in a while. And you know what I'm saying? So, it's all good. It's all good. You know, I think the baby with having children already, having two other baby mothers, I think it is, or whatever, he knows what it's like early in life to fight with a chick and knows what the setup is. See, all men in this United States, it's not just men of color, all men. I've heard this come out of all men's mouth, including right here in my state, in Connecticut, many of times. People I've grown up with, people I've known, same thing in New York, same thing in Jersey. And they'll all sing the same tune. They'll say, police come here, they ain't on the man's side, they automatically on the woman's side or whatever. And the baby knows that unless there's overwhelming evidence that suggests otherwise. In my situation, I was fucking bleeding with 3 poke holes in me. I had to go get stitches and everything. One of them went deeper than all the other three. But it was all, it's all good. It's all good. We we tend to forget sometimes that men are now, especially men of color, now target. If you black and Latin, you do some shit, whatever, it's over. There was a Dominican artist not too long ago that got into something with his ex or whatever. They got him the fuck up out of here. It was niggas personally want to beat him up, all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? There was a Cuban artist that raped some women. They got him fuck up out of here. So, like there's always a way in the communities, whether it be American and ethnic or Caribbean and ethnic, they know how to get rid of a motherfucker if you need to, you know? And that's the same thing you saw with council culture when they hit maybe the first time with the gay and whatever that was, you know what I'm saying? On stage, whatever that was. I still think to this day, I respect your fact for being able to say what you got to say, but at the same time, the way you went by and delivered it, I think it was kind of like high schoolish. You know what I'm saying? But I do some high schoolish shit sometimes too, so whatever. That girl got a problem, and I think it's one of three problems. Like, you're not familiar with Danileigh. I believe she's from the West Coast, I believe. I know she's younger. I want to say she's somewhere around about 23, 24, 25-ish, maybe a little bit, maybe less younger or older. But she's like many women in the United States now and online. She hasn't grown up. You know what I mean? I don't think she was prepared for a baby. That baby's 3 months old. I could have swore one time in that video she told the baby to shut up. Not the baby, but the baby that she was holding. I could have swore she tried to play that off until she told the baby to shut up and she tried to play that off. I could have swore to God that's what I heard and saw. I don't know if it was just me. Y'all go back and look at the footage. It's right below this video. Y'all come back and tell me. I should have put it in the description box, so I forgot. But you can go down and take a look at the video if you have not seen it and come back if you will. But just hit my name, hit videos. It'll be right there. It's the last video I popped up. Um, there's something wrong with that girl. And I don't think it's just immaturity. I think it's also good morning, Master Jedi on the check-in. I think it's more than that. I think it's something. It has to do with immaturity. It has to do with culturally how she was brought up. It also has to do with now. I know her mother, or I think the father is the mother is one of the two are Mexican, one's Puerto Rican. But it's like if you grew up in a household where mom always gave it last generation, no, I didn't even say last generation, 2 generations, 3 generations back, men treated women a lot differently, like in general, men treated women a lot differently. I think there's a lot more chivalry going on or whatever. So, like the I have an aunt and uncle, which is my mom's brother and sister, that have been married, just four of them, 4 sets of them, that have been all married more than 25, two for 30 and 35 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you don't see that too often. Motherfuckers can less long stay together for 30 weeks than 30 years nowadays. When you cultivate that up with her being immature as fuck, probably she got into the crib, you know what I'm saying? Danileigh, yeah, she's an artist. Yeah, she's popping or whatever. She can pop back from this with a baby. But and she's going to be well taken care of. The baby's got his other daughter with him all the time. I've seen the kid in videos, the boy too. So it's like, I don't think he's that type of guy. And I don't think he should be vilified as he is that type of guy. And a lot of people are jumping the hot end already and they're taking sides with Danileigh. But Shorty was living there. You know what I'm saying? And judge on that behavior she had right there. If you needed any example of how she get down, when the cops showed up, she was tripping with the cops in the video. She was literally like, no, no, you go talk to him. She was giving directions to the cops, and they're like, ma'am, 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 the whole time. Something they don't allow for men. You gonna be like, nah, you ain't talking to you. Be black and Latino. Be like, no, I ain't talking to you. Just be a man in general. No, I ain't talking to you. All right. You know what I'm saying? That'd be the last time you have a discussion about that shit. So Danileigh was offered a lot of privileges just as being a woman, and she didn't even realize it. And the sad thing about it, the sad thing about it is, sorry about that, guys. The sad thing about it is, she could have. easily. Ooh, I got it upside down now. She could have easily, and I honestly and truthfully, be sorry about this, guys. The thing popped off the. I was trying to adjust it sometimes because I have the case on it. It falls over sometimes. Okay, there we go. Danileigh had the choice whether or not she wanted to calm down or she wanted to turn up. And she chose to turn up like a motherfucker. Okay. And no matter how much she want to pretend like she's a victim, because I know a lot of women are gonna run with that on that page. And I saw it in the comments section, even on the post itself. It was like, "Oh, you go, girl. What he do, girl? He must be messed up, girl. He a part of infidelity." Listen, she had been living there for only 3 months. It take 9 months to gestate and you know the gestation of a baby takes 9 months. She'd only been living there 3 months. I'm not sure how old the kid is. I'm gonna say the kid and the baby because I'm gonna have to make a separation. So is it safe to say? I mean, he wasn't fucking with you like that. I mean, sometimes we just gotta call it for what it is, you know. And I think they had a oops baby. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think they had a oops baby. You know what a oops baby is, right? I don't. Do they call it something different now? I mean, like a side baby. I don't know. A oops baby. Danileigh's baby. She may not realize the baby is side baby. I know I'm messed up, right? I'm trying to. I'm trying. If she had only been living, okay, so let's say this. Once you have a kid, I don't have any kids, but once you have a kid, I think at that point you would be like, all right, come on, move in. You know what I'm saying? Go on and get that bag and bring about 4 more now. You know, I got to watch over you. I got to make sure the kid all right, the baby all right, whatever. I don't care where I'm touring at. You know what I'm saying? If you can make it and you ain't feeling a certain way, come along with us. You know, like that's how I see it. You know what I'm saying? I would want my broad with me. She said, I only been here for 3 months. Now, in the guys' world, guys know that means, in some cases, that usually refers to, all right, I'm going to go ahead and check her out. Where you going? I'm going to go over here and see old girl. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, she coming in. All right. Let me know when she get here. You know what I'm saying? See what this is about, you know? That's how most men think. I don't care what color they are. I've been a man for a long time, but I was a little boy at one time. You know what I'm saying? I think I know how guys think pretty good. You know what I mean? And it's funny because other women won't listen to what guys like. Girls want men to listen to them say, "Hey, this is how women think." But when men say, "Hey, this is how men think," women will be like, like, how the fuck you know? Like, it's the most amazing like disarray of psychology ever in existence. I think like this whole delusional, but that's a whole other different thing. And I think Danileigh falls into that region of that delusional state of mind. I think Danileigh didn't get what time it was because for a man to walk in and say, "Yo, you got to go," that means you were posing some previous problem. You understand what I'm saying? You wasn't there to keep the peace. You weren't a piece of the peace. You weren't what your makeup, your cute clothes alluded to. And I keep telling you guys that all the time. I gotta watch out for these girls that are overly dressed, overly trying to look like not all the time, but most of the time. You gotta watch for chicks like that. Like I like a regular dressed chick, but even though I know there are some beautiful women internally that come overdressed too, I had to learn that. You know what I mean? But the majority of them are wannabes. I always see Danileigh with a shitload of makeup on. She's a very pretty girl outside of all that makeup, but they put a ton of makeup on her like from the beginning. And I think it was in an effort to make her look older than what she is. Because if you can see in that video, she looks the age of what she is. She looked like she like early mid 20 something. And the way she was talking, you could tell that she was more in contour with like younger slang. Is that a better word? Like when I notice when if somebody called a girlfriend or boyfriend, they're interacting, they say bro all the time. That shit freaks me out. Like, chick, don't call me bro. I'm not your bro. You understand what I'm saying? For real. And I can show you that verbally, real quick. And that's what the baby did with her. Like, I'm not your bro. That's where you got your first mistake at. You know what I'm saying? Trying to have this relationship based on these ideals that if we call each other bro, that means we're equals. No, you're not my equal. You understand what I'm saying? Not in that regard. No, you can be my equal and many different other facets of life. But in that particular one, that's like you go and stand and you know what? Go in the bathroom and try standing up and tell me how that works. Ladies. Go to the bathroom, stand up, and take one, and tell me how that works out. You'll find out at that moment you ain't the same as me, and I don't mean that in them regard to disrespect women. I mean in a regard of it's getting monotonous now. You know what I'm saying? You want a traditional man of values to do traditional shit or whatever. Many of you women out here not traditional ass fucking women in return. You know? And I got caught up in that shit. I'm raised a certain way. And you know, I had somebody write in my comment section. I'm gonna get back on here. They said, "No wonder you're not in a relationship because of the video I put up about the woman getting punched in the face on the subway by the gentleman. And some men are calling him a hero. I ain't calling him a hero, but some men are calling him a hero. You know what I mean? Because of the premise in which it happened. You know what I'm saying? Danileigh got the cops called on her because the baby, and everybody questioned, well, why'd he go live? I'll tell you why he went live. He went live just in case the story was twisted because it's going to get reported. He already knew that from the get go. I'm the baby. They coming and it's going to get reported and it's going to get reported as speculation when I can show you the real deal. So here go the video footage. Two, this video footage protects me in case there's any discrepancy whatsoever in her story versus my story. Because you better believe, fellas, some of these chicks will kick in the story and lie like a motherfucker when the police come. You better believe me. Please hit likes and share. Definitely. Thank you, y'all. Please hit those like buttons and share buttons. And please make sure you always hit the like button, whether it's an upload or the live. I'm going to go here for a minute, so don't worry. Because we got a couple things to talk about. One of the funniest things right now that I've seen with this video is this. The fact that he had to call the police. And the fact when he called the police, she then ensued arguing with the police. Did nobody ever pick that? Did nobody peep that? She was now arguing with the police and directing the police. And I want to sit on hindsight with that because I know a lot of women are going to sit back and be like, oh, she was done wrong. How were you done wrong? You just been living at the crib for 3 months. It take 9 months to gestate a baby. So in 9 months, you ain't moving to the crib. But in 3 months, now you've been there and you thought you was chick number uno. No, you looked at the baby as a come up. That's what I think. I think you looked at the baby sort of as a come up. I don't know if there was a real love there. It might have been. But I think you looked at him as a come up. Rightfully so. He's worth more than you. He's more popular than you. He sells more records than you. He produces more music more quickly and more repetitiously than you do. I noticed I was in that business for 17 years. The baby got you beat. And sometimes I believe that can draw jealousy in some women, depending on the type of woman that you're dating, depending on the type of intelligence she has, the type of personality she has, the type of place she looks at herself as a human being. And that is just a human being, but a woman in society. A lot of women come up with the realization in their mind, I think for some, and then for some, I think it's just forced because of society. But a lot of women come up to the conclusions a lot of times that, hey, I'm not gonna be anything, or this is what I'm gonna be, or this is what type of man I deserve, or this is the way I grew up, so it'll always be this. And the men too, subsequently, because a lot of these women solely by themselves raise a lot of these boys, so they start thinking the same way, you know. And based on that, when they enter in a dating situation or they enter into a marriage, a lot of times, or you know, they bring this attitude and these behaviors and these problems with them. And I think that's what Danileigh did. I heard the baby. I hear him when he's talking. And he's saying, oh, you cool, you Coco, you know, cuckoo. I mean, she's nuts. If you sitting there arguing with the police with a baby in your hand, where it looks like to me in one clip of that video, you appear to tell the kid, meaning the baby in her hand, to shut up, because that's what it looked like to me. Nobody's gonna address this shit. You gotta realize nobody's gonna address this shit at first. You understand? Please realize this. Nobody's gonna address that. What they're gonna do is they're gonna villainize the baby instead. But in all stakes and purposes, listen, fellas, if you're out there, even girls, if you're out there, y'all got a whole girl that's nuttier than squirrel shit, just like this chick. Fellas, if you out there, you'd have dated a woman that was nuttier than squirrel shit, like that chick right there. And based on the current moral system of the United States right now, online, is based online, like you can't have morals based on something but bathed in shit. It doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? You got morals based on a high moral standard, but they're based and bathed in shit before they hit the public. You understand what I mean by that? So the moral system itself is screwed up. You have saying incorrect shit as being right. You have a moral system based on if I do something that's more nefarious or something that's more contending more with the end of being narcissist, then I should be held in high regard when actually in any other society at any other period of time, you'll be vilified and probably burnt at the stake, depending on what fucking time period we were in. You understand what I'm saying? You will be rendered a harlot, a charlatan, you know, and many other things. They will literally burn you at the stake. You understand what I'm saying? In some countries, they will behead you. In some countries, they will bring you to the guillotine. I'm telling the truth. If you don't believe me, look up a history. I encourage many of you to look up the history of law when there was no such thing as separate church and state. The church ran everything. All these charges that equate to right now, like being a gossiper is being a charlatan because you're following false narratives. You understand what I'm saying? That's what they would say. Being a charlatan can also be someone that's selling somebody, so appalling somebody something that's like a snake oil. You know what I mean? There's many definitions of being a charlatan. Being a harlot would be what you would define as being on OnlyFans. You understand what I'm saying? In most just in Salem, Massachusetts, which is nothing, maybe I don't know, maybe 4.5 hours away from where I'm at right here in New England. You go up to Salem, Massachusetts, or whatever. They had the Salem witch trials up there. If you look at some of the convictions, because they have literally a library while they burnt witches at the town and stuff like that. Well, if you see what they were convicted of, you'll always see in repetitious form these charges: charlatan, heretic. They don't mention that a lot of men died in the Salem witch trials too. You know what I mean? That were accused of being witches, and all throughout England, not just New England, but England, Europe in general. There were some cases in Germany, France, and England. You know, so being a charlatan, a heretic, or harlot, all three of these just a little while ago would have got you killed. You know what I mean? Or severely maimed. Nowadays, you see it online like it's nothing, and that's what I mean by this story right here. They're going to take this story and they're going to twist it and bend it and do whatever they want to, because see what their real issue is with the baby. They feel like he got away. Just like Lil Bootsy, they feel like he got away for saying what he was saying. I just saw with Lil Nas X. I'm gonna put the clip up for y'all a little bit. This little motherfucker Lil Nas X is about to be on one of your popular TV shows. I'm dead serious. And he targeted for a TV show that he knows most minorities watch. That's the funny shit about it. Oh, who's ever navigating this motherfucker sit next to the devil himself? And I'm not talking about because he's part of LBGT either. Whoever navigates this little motherfucker right here, people in the industry know what the fuck I mean. Whoever navigates this little motherfucker's whole career, that guy. Whoever navigates this guy, oh, they're fucking genius and a devious motherfucker at that or whatever. They're gonna spit your ass out in a few minutes here. I give them about 2 more years. 2 more years. In about 10, you'll hear stories about him out there on Wilshire Boulevard in California selling bussy. Little Nas X, the rise and the fall. Where are they now? Little Nas X. You know, I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen to him. I'm telling you. They're still mad at the baby for the comments he made, the attachment they tried to do with him, Lil Bootsy, and Lil Nas X failed. They really wanted Bootsy and the baby out of here. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's what they represent, is what they say. And that, for people to resoundingly keep repeating your words or whatever, that's influence. And a lot of these companies, they've always done that. They've always tried to coattail your influence. Like I noticed that even when I was at Bad Boy, like certain artists and certain people, there was so many people. Like, let me keep it a buck. There was so many people that came through them doors at Bad Boy Entertainment. There was a whole room that used to be in the back. I don't know what happened to the room, but it was up at BMG, and it had thousands upon that. I'm not talking about just a thousand. This was a whole box, and it had thousands upon thousands of letters, gifts, demo tapes, all kinds of shit, just sitting in one big ass box in the closet. It was huge, and I'm pretty sure there was no way. At the time, they should have hired somebody to go through that shit. That's why I thought. Now, I had said it before. But and you can ask anybody who worked up at Bad Boy Entertainment at that time. I'm gonna say the last time I saw that with my own 2 hours was probably like 2006, 2007. So you can ask anybody who worked up at that building at that time, they're gonna tell you the same thing. You know what I mean? It's crazy because like the way they try to negate the story against the baby and make him look like he's some homophobe man, or they try to make him look like he's some public enemy number one, but they actually did that with the group Public Enemy. And if you look at the shit that Public Enemy went through I remember this shit because I was like, what, probably in fifth, sixth grade, somewhere around there, when they was moving heavy, and like I remember like there was so much shit they went up against. I remember there was one lady, I forgot what her name is. C. Dolores Tucker, I think that's what her name is. She had rented a steam engine and she ran over their albums and music in Harlem. You know what I mean? And I don't think she was right about all the artists she picked, but I think what C. Dolores Tucker was trying to say right now is their influence is going to cause this, and she just didn't know how to articulate it. She came off more so like the black Cruella DeVille. That woman looked just like Cruella DeVille, the black version, except without the black and white hair. I swear to God, that woman gave me the chills. You know them old women that can look at you and just be like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? She was one of them type old women. But God rest her soul, R.I.P. to C. Dolores Tucker. Um, Danileigh probably got some issues she got to come up with. One, baby girl, you got a baby now. You didn't have a baby before, but you got a baby now. And being that you got a baby, you don't argue with your fucking baby with the police with your baby in your hand. You don't tell the babies, you don't tell the police with the baby in your hand, get out my face. I ain't talking to you. There's something wrong with him. Ain't nothing wrong with me. He talking about he want to kick me out and send me to a hotel. Where, 5-star hotel? Yes, bitch. Get the fuck out. We'll work out everything else later. Get the fuck out. No, this was a woman obsessed. She was obsessed because she wanted a family. And she don't have none of the credentials that would be family worthy. Now get back with me in about a year or so after you've grown up and everything. Be all right. You need anything from the kid? I got you. That's where he's at with her. And if I had to make a guess, I would say that he's there with her right now because of the pure simple fact this girl is fucking annoying and nuts. And if you don't think you saw a display of it with that woman with her baby in her hand, I want to underline that. The woman had her baby in her hand challenging the fucking police. Talking about no, 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 no. So two white cops don't give a fuck about a half nigga beige baby. They used to toss them on the plantation. You didn't know that? You didn't know that? They used to take little black babies and smash them against rocks. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Be a runaway slave and have a baby with you. They take your baby and slam it against a rock in front of you to terrorize you. They give a fuck about your baby. They did the same thing in the Caribbean. The English did it. The Spaniards did it too. And they learned it from the Portuguese. And the Portuguese learned it from the Romans. It's a fear tactic. You sitting up there arguing with the police with your baby in your hand. In one part of the video, you look at the baby and it's damn sure look like to me, you say, shut up to that kid in your hands. How come ain't nobody questioning that? How come ain't nobody questioning that? When she looked at that baby, and I could have swore she looked at that baby and she tried to play it off when she saw she was getting filmed. And she told that little baby to shut up. Ain't nobody pointing that out. Ain't nobody gonna point that out. They gonna point out that the baby is wrong. She's right. I'm a woman. That'll come up about 7 or 8 times because that's the excuse marker. See, it's really a psychological thing when they do that shit. It's a psychological trigger. Basically, it's to evoke empathy. So when you say trigger words within psychology, like meaning like if you keep repeatedly saying woman or phrases of three, I tried to teach y'all this before because we learned this in music. If you say phrases of three, right? So phases of three are like when you say something repeatedly. So I'll give you an example. Dr. Umar, he does that little tricknology shit. That's why I said a lot of this shit that they be speaking against, they actually be using on y'all. So check this out, right? I could say, tonight, you got to come down and buy tickets to the show. You hear me? Tonight, come down to the Tarsus and buy tickets for the show. Again, you heard me, people. Tonight, come down to the show and buy tickets for the show. You see what I'm saying? Now, I've said that 3 times, it's called a repetitive thought process begins. And that repetitive thought process can make you predetermined to whatever. It can make you predetermined to no. It can make you predetermined to yes. Most of the time, it makes you predetermined to yes. They've used it in advertising for years. If you ever watch, what's that TV show? Not The Simpsons, the other one. Where Jesus Christ, Family Guy. And there's this guy, he'll have these little things, these tentacle things or whatever. And he said, awesome little tentacle bubble bubbles. Awesome tentacle bubble bubbles. Awesome tentacle bubble. And it's a commercial and it's like these little plastic balloon things floating or whatever. That's to invoke that. It's actually a theory. If you repeat things 3 times, it will become so. So when women, if you pay attention, a lot of women nowadays, toxic feminists, not real women, not real chicks that actually get out here and hire other people, including men, or get back to the community. Don't just invoke and say, oh, I've made it here. I'm top of my class at cum down the la 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 and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? And nobody give a fuck about really but you. That don't benefit nobody but you. And if you ain't doing nothing in the neighborhood for people but you, you're just a fucking waste of time. And it's all about everybody but you. That's how we feel. You know what I'm saying? There seems to be a thing with women like Danileigh that a lot of toxic feminists like to run to the aid to. And I saw that in the comment section. I saw that in the video where it's been on other people's, social media, whatever as well. And I just read the comments and I like to get a general consensus of how women think. And what I find is the younger the women or the older the women, they tend to be the most toxic. On those spans, those wide spans, the younger the women and the older the women. Now I'm talking about in the age range of 49 through 55 for the women, for the girls, anywhere between 13 and 19, 21 years old. The younger they are, And the older they are, the more toxic they are. The ones in the middle are in the scope of anything because they still got hope. I know that's fucked up, right? Same thing with the boys, believe it or not. Same thing with the boys. They still got hope. Well, a lot of these girls that were writing in the comments, one of the things that I saw consistently were they were all agreeing with Danileigh, like as if Danileigh was just a victim and Danileigh could do no wrong or whatever. And I said, how the fuck you know? Like, you know what I'm saying? The point she kept calling him a coward. I said a coward would have took the baby, walked you out, had security put you out, rain, sleet, or snow, whatever, and sit right down on the front of the stairs until the motherfucking Uber come here. Don't make no noise. Yeah, I ain't never seen Hustle and Flow. He said, you gotta go. He was a country motherfucker too. What was that, Memphis, right? You know what's hard out here for a bill. She said, where we supposed to go? He said, I don't give a fuck. She was out there fucking with one of them country ass South Carolina niggas. Them niggas cold, boy. They cold. I know the South. Shout out to Miami, Florida. What's going on? I know the South. Was birthed from it. So I know the South. So New York dudes and Northeastern dudes are cold too, but Southern dudes, it's a different cold. So same thing with Caribbean men. It's a different cold. And depending on what island you on. She beat him up. That's why he called police. But first, he should have stayed with Mimi. She was with him before the fame. He beat her to the punch. She can say whatever she want about him. The baby can't win with no cops. Yeah, no win. He can't win with no cops. Yeah, exactly. You can't win if the police wasn't involved. I totally agree with that. He should have. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He called the police because he knew that the situation would get out of his hands. And the reason she would let the situation get out of her hands is, I think, for two reasons. One, evidently, if she had been beating up on him or punching up on him, which I believe, because I've been in situations like that and had girlfriends like that, and they started swinging on me or whatever, whatever, get rid of them bitches immediately. And that's what I did, except for one of them. And that one of them taught me, you know what I'm saying? That one taught me, I number one thing my mother and my father taught us. Don't let nobody scratch up your face. Now, I ain't gonna be funny or nothing like that, but me and my two sisters, we some pretty motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not letting no chick scratch. I've had scratches on my arms. I had another scratch or whatever, just because chick mad. You know what I'm saying? Just because the chick mad. Some women are prone to being violent because the lackadaisical attitudes of people nowadays allow them to do so. And so we're not investigating the fact that this woman is passive aggressive, may have some issues after birth. A lot of women go through mental issues after birth. I understand this. I'm aware of this. And they may have particularly weighed in themselves. Plus the fact that she's not performing right now and hadn't been performing for almost a year and a half because of the pandemic. It wasn't because she was a bad artist. It's because of the pandemic. Nobody was touring. You understand? I know this business. I'm from it. So it's sad to say, man, but I think Danileigh and the baby just need to take a break. I think they need to take a break. I think they need to leave it alone. I think it's a done deal. I don't think it can be reconciled. Once you get to call the police on a motherfucker, it's never gonna go. It's never gonna get better. It's never gonna get better. And there's many different reasons it's not going to get better. You know what I mean? I don't have the time to list every last one of them. One of the main ones would be trust, the lack of it. That would be your biggest contender, the lack of trust at this point. Now I feel like I have to be on eggshells or walk on my tippy toes around you or watch what I say to you, and I can't be myself. Therefore, that invokes me somewhere or another point in time telling you lies, whether you're a man or a woman. Because now I'm not competing with granting your affection. I'm competing with pleasing you and what you want to hear. And Men, a lot of men try to express this to women all the time. Listen, don't put me in a position where you want me to lie to you. You understand what I'm saying? And if you have a brother or any uncles that care about you, they should have taught you this shit. And if they forgot to tell you, man, please give your nieces and nephews, your nieces and daughters a call today and update them. Y'all know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Please update them. A lot of you men out here, and the lack of putting these girls on to what the real world is like with a lot of these men, is the fact that a lot of these girls are so easily influenced by toxic ass females. Danileigh has been impressed by toxic ass females. I listen to Danileigh's music. I know the joints she did with Chris Brown. I know a couple of joints she got that are on my phone, that I listen to on a regular basis. Everybody know me, I like dance music. I was a dancer at one time. You know what I'm saying? On Direct Effects, 2 years on MTV. So, you know what I'm saying? And you can't front, you can go look at the footage or whatever. I'm beside everybody. One show, I'm right beside you dancing. Kim, Ludacris, you name it. Everybody was on that show. You know what I'm saying? And that was before I really started meeting famous people. The first famous people I met was on MTV. They wasn't that bad boy. The real famous. I was a bad boy for almost a year before we met Puff. If you put it I was a bad boy for almost a year before we met Puff Diddy, as y'all know him now. You know what I'm saying? Skinny. You know what I'm saying? What up, Skinny? I know you watching me, you motherfucker. Love you though, man. Love you though. But let me tell you something. Danileigh still has the potential to be a star. She's still young. She's definitely talented. I don't know if she writes her songs, but she is a songwriter. She's a good songwriter too. You should put maybe more emphasis on being a songwriter instead of being a performer right now. Plus, a songwriter gets you a hell of a lot of money. But based on what Doggy Diamonds had up last night, and I read that shit too, Doggy Diamonds, good job. I read that shit too. A lot of artists ain't getting paid. It ain't just them. You need to do some more deeper research and just get back to your Doggy Diamonds. It's more of them than that. And it was exactly what I said earlier. The shit is worth pennies on the dollar now. The revenue streams on the music. I'm talking about something else if y'all don't know what I'm talking about. But if Doggy Diamonds or his people see this, they'll know what I'm talking about. It's actually more artists than that. And the contention of it is the revenue has shrunk. You understand what I'm saying? The revenue is shrunk. The pie is wider to divide. And based on the pie being wider to divide, nowadays you have a bigger problem. You got more people to pay, and you got a skirt between the fact that we got a pandemic that's still, the remnants of it anyway, are still in order. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody hasn't opened back up to touring. There's been a couple of cities. Everybody knew 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, the revenue wasn't going to be in the music anymore, projectionally moving forward. They knew it. They knew it now. How is here? By 2025, it'll be nothing left of it. The paradigm of what you knew as a music industry will totally change. And I can tell you this, the people that think they're going to be the architects of it actually aren't the architects of it. They're not going to be the architects of it. It's going to be the same architects as always was. And they hire people like me and others to execute shit. That's how the new music business is going to go. There's going to be a new format of the music business introduced to you and given to you. You're going to have to work around the paradigms of it. And if you think you can do everything by yourself, I'll let you know this. If they can't get you with you having to set up your own LLC, and I'll go back to the baby and her in a minute. I just want to say this. It won't get you setting up your own business, your own LLC. What they'll do is they'll cap you in other directions. Now, he brought up something else last night too, Doggy Diamonds, that was interesting. And he was talking, and I don't know if it was you or somebody else that was talking about, and I had caught it already about 2 months ago, but Biden was deciding to try to investigate people on the Cash Apps and PayPals and everything else. It was over $600. Now, a lot of that's got to do with tracking down motherfuckers that they might not have clearly on their radar, but they want them to slip, that took those PPP loans. Okay, that's one. And amongst a couple other loans that they took from the federal government during the pandemic and all that stuff. That's one reason. Two, the second reason is so they catch any type of fraud for multimillionaires, because this is the motherfuckers they're going to be taxing the shit out of on this $1.8 trillion deal that they just recently signed. And then three, most importantly, it beats them around the edges of the future of pinpointing anybody else that should be paying their taxes at a higher bracket than they currently are. That's the three reasons they did that. And one of the main reasons is because of industry. See, it's an infrastructure bill. You get what I'm saying? The music industry is considered infrastructure. You understand what I'm saying? And in its closest regard as well. And the music industry and the infrastructure of the music industry is considered within the paradigm of media. So based on the paradigm of media, from what I learned, and vertical integration and synergy and all those things I learned at college, one of the things that happens is these companies, they start to, one, the first thing they'll do is they start losing money, they'll consolidate. After they consolidate and they don't see any returns or see the company building anymore, the next thing they do is start looking for, or they're approached by acquisition or acquisition companies. Nowadays, there are acquisition companies all around. You know what I mean? They're private people that start acquisition companies. They're smaller guys that have started acquisition companies. But one of the things I'm trying to get into, I won't talk too much on here because niggas don't be giving me no cash app. So fuck all that, giving all that information. But it's like, if you really want to see the business change, you're going to see it towards the end of 2022, going into the beginning years. I say the first 4 months of 2023. That's when you're going to get some surprises. In the same way I predicted this thing with the food shortage crisis and everything as we go into the holidays. And I'm going to throw that clip up, but the video is still up here. All you got to do is just scroll and you'll see it. I said this 3, maybe 4 months ago that this was coming. You know what I'm saying? I'm good at that. Like I came from a time in marketing where we had to basically guess what was going to happen. It wasn't like we had Facebook and everything like that. I joined the music industry in '99, going into 2000. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, we had computers, but the way they utilize them now, I would say even from, I'd say 7 years from that time that I started. 7 years from that time that I started, I was still young, so I was able to navigate myself in the direction of that. So I kind of grew up with it too. I'm at that perfect age where I grew up with it too. But at the same time, it wasn't a highlight to use. You had to do a lot of guessing. You had to do a lot of pattern searching and things like that. And I'm basing that on a pattern. And now, if you see a whole bunch of artists claiming they didn't get paid, it's because the revenue is shorter. And the dividends from those revenues take longer to process, for one. And I think because it's so small in increments and there's so many artists, there are thousands of artists because of all the enclaves that we have nowadays to, like, literally, you know what I'm saying, get our music out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm recording, my studio is my phone. You know what I'm saying? My studio is literally my phone and the app I use that I purchased to record my music, because being in Daddy's house recording studios, being over at Quad, Electric Lady, all these places that I've recorded, I learned from, I was friends with a lot of the producers. Like, shout out to Steve Dickey, who's recorded everybody from Fabulous to Shakira to Busta Rhymes, Wyclef Jean, the list goes on, Justin Bieber, everybody. And I'll throw up another one of the videos of me in the studio so you guys can check it out or whatever. But that producer that I was working with, Brian, same thing. He had worked with everybody. Cassie, 112. He had did stuff with Alicia Keys. Um, I'm trying to think who else. Shaquan, same thing with him. He had worked with Cardi B at earlier times. Same thing goes for Flames Flow, another person that recorded me. All these people will tell you they know me, or you see them in my video or whatever. John Money XL from over at 50 Cent's camp. A lot of other people, you know what I mean? Like, so, I guess at this point I ain't gotta impress somebody with that bullshit. I know a lot of people, and a lot of people will put that in the cap and be like, I know those people. No, I know people bigger than them. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally way bigger than them. Like, a lot of the guys that signed the checks, that was my knack of finding out who those guys were when I was in the music industry. I don't want to fucking know who works for so and so or who's the mail room or whatever. And I used to tell people that, and they thought I was obnoxious as shit. I want to know who's signing the check for him. And I met those people and became friends with those people. And a lot of people will be like, well, why don't you ask them for something or whatever, whatever. It doesn't work that way. What I want out of those people is a little bit something more further down the line, as far as reestablishing myself in the music industry and everything like that. And that doesn't require me asking for that. My supporters should want to support me. You dig what I mean? Back to the baby and Danileigh. I think Danileigh has some mental issues going on based on the fact that she's in shock from having a baby. This happens with many women. Um, I think it's turning up some type of emotions in her. And then on the contrary of that, I think the baby doesn't know how to deal with it very well. especially the way his life is going right now. He has a litany and a plethora of different women he can choose from. You know, if she want to act up, I got another one. You know what I'm saying? And this is based and judged on Danileigh herself. Danileigh was in a position where she was an artist, so she was used to being in charge of things. It's hard, and I know this personally, it's hard to go back to a normal life because that's what she's living right now. She's not in the studio, she's not touring, it's a normal life. This shit is hard. It's the hardest thing in the world. It is the hardest shit in the world. I swear to God to you. Going back to like a normal life. Like, okay, ain't no more trips to Miami. Ain't no more trips to Cali. Ain't no more. I mean, she could do that, but in other people's cases, they can't do that. You know what I mean? I'm one of the people. I can't do that right now. You know what I'm saying? I miss the fuck out of Miami, Cali, Texas, all the places. I can't go to other places right now. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Danileigh had to shut it down for a minute. And that can affect a woman of her age quite harshly, more harshly than a lot of men realize, quite more harshly than a lot of women even realize if they've ever been through the situation themselves. A lot of women are troopers. They can take a motherfucking kick, whatever. Some women are just softer than baby shit, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. What's the problem comes in the hand is when you start acting out and how you act out and how you rationate out about it. And like I said, and I got to say it again, this woman was in the face of police screaming and shouting at them, telling them what they were going to do, what they weren't going to do. And the police couldn't even get Danileigh to calm down. And we're not going to pretend, I'm not going to pretend that's not what I heard. Motherfuckers be having selective hearing a lot and want to hear what they hear and see what they see. I saw what I saw in that video, and I saw Danileigh walking not only towards the police talking loud and talking shit, you understand what I'm saying, but also telling them what she wasn't and wasn't going to do. And her only protection was two things: the baby in her hand, what she thought, and her gender. And if I had to make a third guess, I would say maybe her tone, which I listen, light-skinned Latinos, I hate to tell you this, but don't ride on that shit of being light-skinned, because let me try to tell you this. I've been around so many white people that will be like, oh my God, all these fucking spics in here. Or they'll try to get me to go along with a conversation that speaks against Latinos. Like, I never one time we was with my homeboy. He was like, oh yeah, you know, all of them drive cars like they goddamn bull hornets. And I was like, what the fuck that mean? Then I started thinking, I'm like, should I smack the shit out this motherfucker for just saying that shit and thinking it was all right? Like, you start asking yourself, well, like, okay, so what the fuck do you say when I ain't around? You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah. But please believe, my light skinned Latino friends, I don't give a fuck what they write down or whatever. They write that shit down and they do that shit or whatever because they want to keep you in that position. You understand what I'm saying? You've seen this done with multiple groups that have immigrated to this country. They do the same routine, you know? And then those immigrants, they become assimilated and then they start getting lackadaisical because they really start believing in their mind, I'm one of them. Until that moment come up and they prove to you and let you know real quick. This is not hypothetically. No, this is something that they've done for eons. You understand? If you don't do the knowledge on it, you wouldn't even understand why the Spanish conquistadors were so quickly to overthrow the Peruvians and the Aztecs, who were fucking warriors. These things used to chop off heads and throw them down the pyramid steps. They built pyramids. You understand? And a 14-year-old Queen Isabella, commissioned I don't know how many ships to take over the Caribbean. So, you know what I'm saying? If you read the story of the fucking, what's the name, of the Pilgrims, the Indians trusted the Pilgrims, right? They motherfuckers slaughtered every last one of them. Don't be so quick to be assimilated or think you fit in. You do not have blue eyes. At the extremes of their cultures, people sometimes mistake being cordial and someone being nice to them as inclusive. You understand? when there's so many examples around you that will show you, no, that's not what's going on. And I think that's what Danileigh took the approach with when she walked towards those officers with her baby in her hand. Because, baby, I'm trying to tell you, if you were a man, they wouldn't even care if the baby was in your hand. They would have took your ass down. The baby fall, oh well. Had you been poor, had you been moderately in wealth, what we consider not even middle class, the working poor. You understand what I'm saying? Just because you lease a flashy car, motherfucker, if you pull right up to the projects in that flashy car, you are amongst the working poor, as defined by the Department of Labor, the working poor. This is not her reality. Her reality is she's with a multi-millionaire, the baby. They pull it up to a multi-million-dollar penthouse. That's one of the cribs. You understand what I'm saying? He has representation. If we throw aside the fact that this woman approached the cops, telling them what she was and wasn't going to do, if we throw aside the fact, and I hate to keep reiterating this, but for people that are coming in, I want them to hear, and please hit those like buttons while you're in here. If we're sitting here and we're listening to the fact of all that, and we hear this woman say, I swear to God, that's what I heard, her tell that baby to shut up. I could have swore that's what I heard. You know what I'm saying? And she tried to play it off and make it look like she was talking to him, but she looked right at the baby when she said it. What the fuck nobody saying? I saw that and I heard that. Why ain't we questioning this chick? And now we so negate nowadays to go to the side of women anything. And I hate to say it like that, but sometimes we be defending the wrong shit when it comes to just women as a pronoun. You understand what I'm saying? We did defending some of the wrong shit. Some wrong shit. I saw motherfuckers defending a woman that had killed her son. No, fuck that bitch. To be quite honest with you, fuck her. I'm not defending no woman that killed her own baby, a helpless, defensive baby. You kidding me? Oh, well, I don't give a fuck. She should have jumped off a bridge and left the baby at this church. If your life is that bad, and you got to decide between you and a kid, because there's multiple women out here killing kids. Please believe that. There's multiple women out here killing their spouses as well. Most frequently these past 2 years. I don't know where that stemmed from, but it's been happening more and more frequently. And I'm going to start throwing up some stories about that. It's like the same thing. I'm trying to break more into this ghetto gagger shit because motherfuckers are making it brand new, like that girl that got caught in New York was brand new. Well, I just put up a video yesterday from 2013. And Cali Dreams was talking about that ghetto gagger shit. So that's almost damn near 10 years later, and y'all still talking about the same shit. And ain't nobody try to take these two motherfuckers down. Ain't nobody go see them. Ain't nobody talking about them. Y'all want to talk about that. Y'all want to talk about the baby and Danileigh arguing with each other. You know what I'm saying? That's the highlight of the code. That goes to show you mentally what these motherfuckers type and how they think are two different things. How they type and how they think in reality and their actions are two different things. What they type online and what they actually interact in their interaction in their daily whatever in life are two totally different things. For I'm gonna say 70% of society. 70% of society now depends on the internet to give them an avatar and a Sims experience. You know what I'm saying? So you got a Sims experience with the baby and Danileigh last night. And I don't think Danileigh's innocent. I think you need to get the fuck away from Danileigh as fast as you fucking can. I think the worst mistake you ever did in your life was having a baby by that chick. And I don't think there's no problem with her wanting you to use, contraceptives, because I heard the argument was about the morning after pill or something like that. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. You shouldn't want to get that nutty ass broad pregnant again. And look here. Take your little nasty ass down there and stop hitting these chicks raw. Man. You understand? That's your problem right now. I'm talking to you. This your big cousin, man. Let me talk to you for a minute, man. Get your ass niggas. You can get your ass niggas down south. They like hitting raw. All right? I'm going to be honest with you. That's just what it is. These motherfuckers be having 14, 15 fucking kids as a result. And I'm saying anywhere down from DC on down. That's what they do. Fuck that. Matter of fact, now I'm gonna say DC on down. Yep, DC on down. You know, maybe Maryland on down. Maybe really Maryland on down. Maryland kind of hip though to things. You know what I'm saying? But DC on down, that's when it start getting country. So start getting a little country. You should have been glad that that girl wanted you to use some contraceptives of some type of device or whatever the case may be. Or maybe the story was on you, whatever the case may be. Two, you made the right decision, baby. Getting that broad the fuck up on out your house. You need to go. Because you are a future problem. And he saw that day based on the fact of how you reacted. You understand what I'm saying? The police now know how you react to situations, Danileigh. While you sitting there trying to bull guard them at the door and tell them, no, you need to do this, you need to do that. Bitch, you don't sit your ass down before we tase your ass with that little neck baby in your hand. That's what they was trying to tell you. Ma'am, you got one more time. They was telling her to calm. Bitch, you got one more time. Okay, look, bitch, calm down. Bitch, tell us what happened. That's what them guys really said. Look, bitch, we don't want to tase you. Bitch, calm down. You know, they was trying to tell her, you know. Say if Danileigh would have got tased by the motherfucking police, would the story have been different? If Danileigh would have got tased by the police, would the story have been different? Would it have been the baby's fault? These questions I ponder. What if? You know what I mean? Would the story have been different? Are we going to ride on the story and then sit back and basically say it was all the baby's fault and he's wrong? There's people saying he's wrong for recording her. Fuck, no, he ain't wrong. He was right because he recorded up until the time the police got there. Okay, now we back to our business. Is somebody here to facilitate and arbitrate between what goes on between you and I now? And when you get to that point, like I said, when a woman, you need to leave her the fuck alone. The relationship is over. I hadn't realized how long I had been out of the dating game until I woke up and said, damn, I've been seeing somebody for 7 years, you know? And the reason we never got married, we never had any kids was because of a trust problem. That's why I know this firsthand. Once you break that trust barrier with a motherfucker, and sometimes you can snap back from it. Don't get me wrong. There's times you can snap back from it on both ends because she cheated on me and I forgave her. That's why I know this. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes if you can circumnavigate the energy, you can circumnavigate what happens or whatever. Yeah, there's some coming back to it. There's some be rekindling to it. You know what I mean? But the baby's not a young dude. No, I mean he's young, but you know what I'm saying. He's not a kid. He's not spring chicken anymore. I think he's in his 30 something. Danileigh, I mean she ain't no high school girl no more, but she sure do sound like one. You know what I'm saying? Yo, bro, this is fucked up. What the fuck? The fuck? Anytime I hear chicks talking like that, I'm like, oh, okay, this is an immature motherfucker. Everybody uses a little bit of slang, so don't get me wrong. But if I hear you overly using slang all the time to express yourself, I'm like, yeah, this is an immature motherfucker. Even if you're not immature, you come off as immature. You know what I mean? And I hate to judge people sometimes, but sometimes it's just good goddamn guessing. I'm going to get off this whole tirade here, but I just want to leave it this. I think Danileigh, I think she needs some growing up to do. I think Danileigh needs some mental help. I think Danileigh has the contention to be violent. And I'm hoping Danileigh doesn't end up as bad, mixed up goods in the end. You know what I'm saying? Because she's a pretty girl. You can't deny that. Very pretty girl. You know what I'm saying? The makeup makes her even look even better. She wasn't even ugly without the makeup, which is a hell of a lot to say. You know what I mean? She wasn't ugly without the makeup. Anybody said they wouldn't wake up next to that, you telling a fucking lie. All right? Like I said, I hadn't realized how long I've been out the dating market. But now that I'm in this motherfucker again, out here looking for love. I love doing that shit. Motherfucker out here looking for love. Now that I am, I find it funny, like what people hold in regard as dating. You know what I'm saying? Like in a normal situation, Danileigh and the baby should have never fucking been there. They shouldn't even never fucking have met. To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? But based on their professions, I know that's fucked up to say, but I mean this in a good way. They should have never even fucking met. In a regular world, they shouldn't have even never even met. All right? Like, I'm just gonna be honest with you or whatever. In a regular world, they shouldn't even never met. But they did. In the regular world, they should have never even had a baby. The reason they met is because of their professions. That's what I mean. And sometimes I know as artists, we like to date other artists or date people in the game, whatever, whatever. No. Just go get you a normal motherfucker. Just get you a normal person. If you were any Denzel Washington been with his woman Pauletta for I don't know how many years, right? He ain't never let Pauletta slide because Pauletta got his teeth fixed while he was doing auditions to become a actor that he is now and held in held in high self worth as probably one of the best directors that I mean, excuse me, best actors they ever were. The reason I mention that is that woman's still with him to this day. They are still married. A lot of you chicks ain't gonna be known as no more than the girlfriend of such and such, the girlfriend that used to be with such and such, or so and so baby mama. Not so and so's wife, not so and so's girl, so and so baby mama, or so and so's ex girlfriend. And you'll, I guess, ride your popularity with that and normalize having side babies as a normalcy. That shit ain't normal. You know what I mean? So now, particularly speaking, I don't think Danileigh and the baby should get married. I don't think they will get married or anything else or whatever. So now she got a side baby. Or oops, baby, maybe. I don't know. But definitely a side baby because you're not with the father. Y'all hit them like buttons for me if y'all would. So she definitely got a side baby now. You know? They're not going to be together. They're not getting married. That's a side baby. That Corey Holcomb called it side baby. I call it a oops baby, but side baby it is. Side baby sound better in 2021. That's a side baby. You know, Corey said some funny shit one time. He said, yo, side babies be like, I can't wait for his father to see him. Bitch, ain't nobody coming up to this motherfucking hospital to see this little baby. Ain't nobody coming up to the hospital to see this little motherfucking baby. All right, man. I'm gonna leave that alone because that's just too much. I want to get into something else. And I hope y'all stay and ride with me on this one or whatever. I was gonna make this a separate cast, but I'm just gonna make this. Where am I at right now? Oh yeah, that was perfect timing. I want to make this. You know what? I might do that. I might actually. No, let's keep going. Let's keep going. I want to talk about Brittany Renner and Kevin Samuels. I gotta talk about this shit. And you know what? I am gonna do that. I'm gonna start a new. What's the name? I want you guys to come back in no more than 2 minutes. All right, maybe 3. And I'm going to start a whole new cast about that. And the reason I'm going to do that because I want people to be able to jump right into it when they see the replay. I don't want to have to, you know what I mean? So I'm going to start a new one. Y'all come back with me. I'll be back in less than a few minutes. All right.